But I got to ask you about this 155 division, dude, because
Mhm.
this thing is gridlocked, man, right? We've got Islam. He's waiting to see who he's fighting next. We've got Justin, Charles, Arman, Ilia, Dan Hooker, Dustin Poirier, Max, Paddy Pimblett if he beats Chandler. If it was up to you, let's just have a little bit of fun. Who
Yeah.
would you give Islam Makhachev the next
Ooh.
title shot out of these guys?
You know what? I would wait. I'll put Islam Makhachev on ice and see what happens in this 170-pound division with Jack Mandela versus Belal Muhammad. If Jack is able to get past Belal Muhammad, I think you give Islam Makhachev the opportunity to go up to be a double champ. I know Dana White said he doesn't want to have to do this again, but when you look at the 155-pound division, Islam has pretty much cleared that out, and he's waiting for a new contender. You know, you have the fight against Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan. You also have, you know, the newcomer Ilia Topuria. So I would like to see Islam get the opportunity to fight for that 130-pound belt. Let's say Belal Muhammad keeps it, beats Jack Mandela. Then I think you have to do, you know, you can do the rematch between Charles versus Islam and have Arman Tsarukyan fight Ilia Topuria. You also still have Dustin Poirier there. You have Max Holloway's there now. You have Paddy Pimblett. I mean, there's so many different, you know, fights you can make in the 155-pound division. But I think the biggest thing that's on the radar right now is Ilia Topuria coming to 155, changing his name to the Legend. And I would like to see him be tested at 155. I know a lot of people think he should get an immediate title shot, but I think, you know, why not just have him versus Arman Tsarukyan run it, right? Like, you know, that'll be a great fight. Arman Tsarukyan was the next person to get the title shot, but he got injured. And so the UFC said they want to see him prove himself, you know, at 155 before he gets that title shot. Here's a perfect example. Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria. Let them run it. And then if you want to keep Islam Makhachev busy, you give him Charles Oliveira, or you can give him somebody else they see fit who can fight for the championship.
It's a great point, man. And you have an excellent video of you training with Team Khabib. For people that haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's hilarious and it's fun. Ilia is saying that he wants to beat Islam in the area that he's strongest in, right? He wants to go in there. He wants to wrestle him. He wants to submit him. You've been behind the curtain, though. You've seen how these guys work. Be honest with me. From what you've seen in the training room, is that even a possibility for Ilia, in your opinion?
You know, we haven't really seen Ilia off his back or on or submitting people left to right, but I know he's a very good wrestler. He has some good grappling. You know, we haven't seen Ilia fight anybody off, put people on their back past their guard. I mean, he does pass guard, but he tends to go about his fights by knocking people out, right? And I believe that's what he's going to try to do when he fights Islam, where Islam has proven his time and time again of submitting the best of the best black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who've submitted other people in the division. So I think that is not going to be the route that Ilia Topuria goes when he fights Islam Makhachev. But, you know, you never know. We'll have to wait and see when those guys link up to see what route Ilia Topuria takes to try to beat Islam Makhachev.
Like being in the training room with Islam and seeing what you see, and even Team Khabib, do you think there's anybody in the UFC that can beat him when it comes to that part of his game?
The grappling?
The grappling, yeah. From seeing what you've seen.
Yeah, I think anybody can be beaten, you know. When it comes down to actually like fighting, there's a lot of stuff that goes in it. Is an athlete injured? Is an athlete overtrained? How is his conditioning? You know, all those things seem to be a factor. And, you know, I think him and Arman Tsarukyan, they were having some back and forth in the grappling exchange. And, you know, obviously Islam beat him. So I for what I see, he's a very hard worker, very dedicated, very strategic. You know, he has Khabib working with them and all the rest of the amazing team in Eagle MMA. So I think it's just going to be down to, you know, who's going to be able to execute their game plan. That's what I thought anybody can be beaten any given day. It's just about who shows up and who's able to execute and who's on fire that night.
Dude, that's so fascinating. You know, hearing your mindset on it. Obviously, you're one of the GOATs. You're one of the Mount Rushmore guys. And hearing you say that, it just explains why you're the best. You know, you believing that you can beat anyone, knowing that with the right game plan, you can do it. Let me ask you this. Let's say he goes up, becomes a welterweight champion, defends the lightweight belt, defends the welterweight belt. How much more do you think Islam has to do before he becomes a part of this Mount Rushmore discussion, along with yourself and John Jones and GSP? How much more do you think Islam needs to do before people start talking about him in that discussion?
I already feel like he's already there. He's done a lot in the lightweight division. And I think for him to go up to 170, and even if he doesn't go up to 170, let's say he stays at 155, he beats Arman Tsarukyan, and then he beats up Ilia Topuria. I don't think there's nothing left for him to do in the 155-pound division. I think he can retire right off in the sunset, which I feel like he will do eventually. And then if he goes up to 170, he beats, Jack Della, or whoever the 170-pound division is. Then I just don't see him. He doesn't need to do much left, my opinion. But at the same time, it's all predicated on what the public sees or what the public views him as, right? Khabib is on Mount Rushmore, and he, I don't think he never had the opportunity to go up 170 to do that. And if Islam's able to do that, so I mean, it's all based on perception of what people think.